Welcome to Sex Crimes Defense Podcast with Chance and Jay. Chance Oberstein is a defense attorney who handles sex crimes in California, and I'm a media professional. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to be legal advice. Chance, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine today. How about yourself?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. I know that we were talking about Alexis von Yates, and it seems that we should take the moment to pause and discuss the right to remain silent.
Well, it's a good thing to discuss because I think the example that is set here kind of leads us into that. Again, refreshing where we were in part one was she hasn't said anything. I mean, the media would have you conclude that it was all said and done, that there, was sex between her and the 15-year-old boy. And yet, there was not one statement that she made attributed to her coming out of her mouth. The statements that were made through her husband and made through her stepson, but not her. And those statements bounced between the two of them, pretty much made it look like she admitted it by speaking with them and either apologizing or talking about what a wonderful thing it was. Both of which she didn't state herself on her own, because the only thing she did upon arrest was asserted her right to remain silent. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I did see that in the affidavit. In
Oh,
fact, she does. I think she clarifies that she she's not speaking without a lawyer. She did
yeah. I
the right
mean,
thing.
nowhere do you find that she's saying, "Oh, I didn't say that," or "I didn't say this," or "This is what really happened." None of that. As a matter of fact, what she did is exactly the right thing to do when you're in that kind of situation. And, again, facially, it looks like something happened. Facially, it looks like something illegal, criminal happened. That's the conclusion you would have from social media. But is that really what happened? Is that really where it's at? Well, if you start to defend yourself and you start to speak, things can be twisted and taken out of context. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the article, even though uh an article says she was allegedly caught, when you read the article, allegedly is out the window. This is, yeah, for society's sake, it's a slam dunk. She's a, what? She's a predator.
That's what you come that I think that's what you conclude. And you look at what he said, he meaning her husband, and he's angry. And you look at what the stepson said, and he's trying to justify the situation to get himself out of trouble. It looks like to me when you read in between the lines. But here's the thing. Whether that's true or not, we don't know. And whether those are the facts or not, we don't know. But simply not enough to conclude that anything happened unless, of course, she opens up her mouth and convicts herself. And she has exercised the right to remain silent because you should never talk to the police without a lawyer. I don't know how many times I could say that. Does that make sense to you, Jay?
It does, and I want to say that I see these kinds of articles all the time about you know so many people are convicted in the media, and I wish I could always get a hold of the arrest affidavit so that I could see the details and understand the case versus just having the media tell me they're all predators.
Well, right. But usually you get statements coming from people who, are the target of the accusations. And you have to ask yourself socially and in social media and otherwise, why would a person respond? Why would they talk out of hand? Why would they make statements? Well, you know, I'm just going to guess that the way things are set up today, especially social media, is that you can hide behind it and you're virtually invisible and there's no accountability. And I think people get so used to the fact that they can say what they want to say any way they want to say it and be completely invisible and unaccountable. Oops. Sorry about that.
Well, that's okay. You're a busy guy. You know, when I read the affidavit, I I'm left with several things. One of which is I can't stop thinking about, you got the child victim as the stepson is referred to in the affidavit. According to him, he was infatuated with her.
Right. Right. That's correct.
Uh, That seems relevant.
Well, but for our purposes and for this context that we're speaking about, let's focus right now on what she said, which is absolutely zero, and the reason why that was a good thing. And that is because talking to the police will not help you. And let me just lay this thing out point by point so we can get through this, because I think it's important to understand that, no matter what happened in this situation, she did the right thing for herself, which was really a smart thing to do. If the police are questioning you, it's because they suspect you or see you as a potential suspect. That's one reason for not saying something. They're also gathering evidence against you, not trying to clear your name. So no matter what, no matter how charming or articulate you think you are, trying to reason with them or deny the offense will only hurt you. Does that make sense?
Well, it does. And don't we, I mean, as individuals, don't we think that talking to the police will help stop the process? Isn't that why we do it?
Well, again, I think it's because we think either we can build in a defense, we can help ourselves, or we can do something that's positive that might mitigate this thing, might cut it off. I mean, look, even if you're guilty, don't confess to the police. I mean, even if you're ready to come clean, resist the urge to confess. Why? Because confessing directly to the police makes it harder for you or your attorney to negotiate lesser charges, a plea deal, or even a case dismissal. And once you confess, you lose all bargaining power, and the police will aim to charge you with the most severe crime possible. So, if you're innocent, talking to the police can still harm you. And that should be something that's not lost on anybody. Is it lost on you?
Well, no. So, what I am thinking is here in this affidavit, according to the child victim, the stepson, he's admitted that he's infatuated, according to the affidavit, and he was playing with her hair. He helped instigate, and she did her part as well. But it seems like everything he says is just, I don't know, unnecessary hearsay. But if she were to say anything, then that's where they hang the hooks.
Well, yeah, he's what he's trying to do, I think, is what he's doing. That's the most pernicious thing is he's speaking for her. So he's saying a day after the incident, she called up and she told me how great this whole thing was, and she was sorry that we got caught. Same as the father, his father, her husband is saying, well, she apologized. She said he's just a younger version of myself. I mean, unnecessary, but they're both putting words into her mouth. They're both saying that she made admissions. They're both saying that in essence, she did it because she said she did it. Okay, but she's not saying that. And that's really an important thing to remember here.
We're going to talk about, I think we'll go into maybe some of the results and consequences after this, but I just want to add, even in the affidavit, the father says that he wants to strangle his son and kill himself. But again, that's not, I suppose there's no crime there. It's really strange how one-sided all this affidavit is. Everybody else talking. Thank God she didn't say anything.
Oh yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, even let's just say, for instance, nothing happened, but it was about to, or it could have. So I mean, factually, she would not have been, criminally liable for the particular crime that everybody's concluding she did. Even if she, just think about this for a moment. Nervousness can lead to exaggerating your story or telling a small white lie, which can destroy your credibility later, which can ultimately convict you. You might say something innocent that gets misinterpreted or twisted into evidence against you. Even if you say nothing incriminating, the police might not recall your statement accurately. And if that's the case, it's your word versus theirs, and the court is more likely to believe the officer, and so is the jury. especially in situations like this.
Do me a favor, Chance, and everybody else, stick around for the next episode where we continue talking about Alexis von Yates. This is the Sex Crimes Defense Podcast.